everyone, and welcome back to the Team Empire podcast. You're here with your host, Shannon. I have a solo episode for you today. This is my second one, and they make me really nervous, but we're just going to roll with it. It's going to be absolutely fine. I also haven't scripted this episode, so I normally have not a script, but I normally have something to work from. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go straight into this episode because then it's going to be more natural and genuine, and just it always is anyway. But just to make sure it's really just like off the tongue, you know, I've got a few things to go through. So first of all, thank you to our sponsor, Infinite Aesthetics. Don't forget to use the code EMPIRE if you want to save. Best activewear in New Zealand, hands down. Support the pod. Thank you very much for them supporting the pod this whole time as well. So nice. Also, I'm going to be covering in this episode today a few things. Going to be going through Mo's Muscles, which was my second show and final show of the year, and just IFBB in New Zealand's final show of the year. It was such a good time. So I'm going to go through a bit of that. Obviously, that was kind of the point of this podcast. But I'm also going to be talking about what I'm going to be doing next. So my next plans, answering some questions from you guys as well, which kind of covers a lot of bits and pieces that I wanted to talk about. Your questions really aimed at that, so that was really cool. So we're actually going to go through the questions first, and then we're going to talk more about a couple of other bits, and I have an announcement. So that announcement is going to happen anywhere in the pod. I'm just going to surprise you, because usually if you're like, hey, I'm going to do my announcement at the end, everyone just skips to the end. So I'm just going to put it in there, so you have to wait and see. So I'm actually just going to start with your questions, basically, first off. I really enjoyed the season. Straight off the bat, I just wanted to share that. I really had a good time. I'm sold, obviously, on what I'm doing here. If you follow me on Instagram, you might see that I'm so invested. I really, really do love the sport, and I want to continue. So little spoiler alert, there will be a continuing journey for myself, and there will be obviously a second season. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait. Oh, it's so exciting. It's always about growing, and it's like never being satisfied kind of thing. I love it. It's so good. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone that's been supporting me along this journey as well. Come to watch shows, or just even send me a message on Instagram, anything. I just really appreciate all of that. So cool to see who you meet and who like steps into your corner and like shouts for you and just supports you when you do this sort of stuff. And it's also interesting who doesn't, but we're not going to dive into that today necessarily, because that's a whole nother topic for another day. I'm also going to be doing a podcast with my client, Becca, my beautiful wellness client, Becca. So we're going to do a podcast. I think it's next weekend. We sort of have planned to record it. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But with Becca, I'm going to dive into more topics that are based around the first timer experience, and just a little bit more like feedback and advice that we have from what we learned. And there's a lot of stuff there. So I'm just going to try and not jump into too much and steal that content today with this podcast. I'll save a little bit of that for next week. So if you are interested in some of that and just like general tips and just how things work and all that kind of stuff for a first timer, or just even if it's your second, third season, you might learn something new. Or if you followed our journey, you might be interested to see how it all went from a really deep insider point of view. That's going to be out soon. Like I said, recording next weekend. So that's something to come. So otherwise, we're going to dive straight into our questions. We're going to get straight into it. I thought they were really cool. Thank you so much, everyone, for sending me through questions. I think it's so cool when we connect. And that way I can answer direct questions from you guys and actually have something to work from, which was really cool. So let's get into it. The first question was, what was the hardest and easiest parts of prep? So we'll start with the hardest. So the hardest parts of prep for me were peak week. I hate peak week, man. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of peak week. I don't like it. But honestly, in saying that, my 2 peak weeks I hated this year because they just were so hard. But the reason that I might not be so caught up on that feeling is because next time I should be ready early, way earlier. So there will be less stress, less like, am I ready? Am I not? Like, why am I still having to work so hard in peak week? That kind of thing that shouldn't really happen next time. So I'm not too stressed on it, but that was one of the things that I didn't enjoy this year was how difficult peak week is. It's just, yeah, it's there's a few other things that were quite hard during prep, but probably the other hardest thing was business. I'm running my own business and trying to balance everything. It was my first time doing that, and it was difficult. I'm not going to lie about it. It was difficult. And I just appreciate my team just supporting me and just understanding that I was just a little bit, not all there during, especially the last few weeks. I didn't really know exactly what to expect. Like I've done something similar before, but not to this extent. So I wasn't sure how I was going to be and how present I was going to be and stuff like that. And basically I was just ticking my day-to-day things off my list for my business and not actually proactively growing and investing into my being, you know, like nurturing it, which is exactly what I love to do. I've got 2 check-in days per week where I check in all my online clients, and the rest of my days per week are growing the business, nourishing the business, nurturing the business. Like, all of that stuff is so important. You can't just be a coach and just do the day-to-day. It doesn't work like that. You got to continue to grow. So that was really hard for me. I found that really difficult. And I know that I sound like such a, like, you know, there's other people out there with harder grinds than I have, like with children and this and that. And that would be difficult, I know, but just relative to my life, that was hard for me. It was just trying to find the balance, you know. The easiest parts of prep were the rest of prep besides peak week. I loved the whole thing. The whole freaking thing was great. Like, I'm a lolly and sugar fanatic, and if you know me, you know that. But so that was a struggle, like being a little bit like, you know, I'm craving sugar but I can't have it. But that also made me more disciplined and motivated together as a little combination, because I was getting used to saying no to it and just like telling myself, no, you don't need it, you don't want it. And I just didn't have it. I didn't slip up on my diet. Like, I think I did twice. I think I had 2 refeed days that weren't scheduled because I hadn't had a refeed day in a long time. So I was like, I need a refeed day. Like, I'm fucked, you know. So there were 2 days where I had a refeed day, and they were good, like healthier refeed days. It was like Nando's chicken tenders and maybe some chips, and that was it. Like, that was my refeed. So yeah. And the other easiest part, which I don't want to rub into people because I understand that this is really difficult for 99% of people, but I found it easy, which makes me feel grateful for it. So I didn't get post-show blues. I don't get them. I don't understand I don't get it in my head. So like, I don't actually feel it myself, is what I mean. I understand it with others, but I didn't get it myself. And I don't know why. I was anxious after the show, like couple of weeks after, but it was due to other reasons. Like, I understand 100% know where that anxiety was coming from, and it wasn't to do with show. So it's weird. I get more motivated, I get more excited, I'm happy I can eat, I'm happy I can do this and that, and I just get excited for the next challenge, or what I'm going to be diving into now. I don't get post-show blues. It's weird. I don't get depressed or anything. I have a day where I'm like, you know, energy come down. But yeah, I don't know. I found that really interesting, and I didn't want to rub it into anyone's face because I understand everyone goes through it, and the season's just ended, so everyone's currently going through that. And I honestly, I feel terrible that people have to go through that as well. But it's from what I heard, it's short-lived. Like, it's not like you're going to be blue forever. Like, you just get those post-show blues for a few weeks. You get your new plan, you get your new you're reversing, you get your sort of like your game plan together for the next season, if that's what you're going to be doing, and then you can just drive towards that, is what I hear anyway. So I don't think it's long term, so that's a good positive thing. It's just like, obviously very variable to each person, but yeah, for some reason I don't get it, which is nice, I suppose. I'm grateful for that. How are you finding post-comp diet and training? So for me, it's been 2 weeks today since comp. So for me, 2 weeks yesterday, sorry, since comp. So for me, it was like the first week was like lots of treats in the first week, but every day it's like a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less, and I'm getting myself like together, kind of thing. But at the same time, when I get lean down, I physically stay lean pretty easy. Like, you know how some bodies are just a little different, like they just hold fat different and things like that. Everything can be different. It's genetic makeups. Mine is just like that. I get it shredded in. It's kind of easy for my body just to tick through it. Plus, once I get lean, I'm like, there ain't no way I'm going back. Like, are you kidding? Like, sorry. I will gain muscle, and I know my shit when it comes to, well, I'm getting better with this, with gaining muscle. I've done it with my clients for years, but with gaining muscle, you don't necessarily have to gain body fat. You don't have to be fluffy and curvy to put on muscle. So I'm going to generally stay leaner while I gain muscle and do the best that I can with my coach. So that's going to be exciting. More about that in a minute. But yeah, so that's kind of how I'm doing. I'm getting better by each day, if that makes sense. But my training's always good. I love my training, and I'm still doing cardio. I'm enjoying cardio, just not Stairmaster, but I'm still doing cardio, and I love it. It's fun to stay active, you know. What did I gain from this journey that I didn't expect? More love for the sport is number one. I gained knowledge about people around me. You always do, though. I learned this in 2018 when I did this fitness model show. I had so many haters. I think I've mentioned it before, but I did. And it just was the way it was. And I think then, I don't know why, but I think everyone was just going through like a bit of a hater patch. And that's okay. It happens. It's New Zealand. She's small. We have a bit of tall poppy here and whatnot. But this time, people expose themselves, if that makes sense. So when you're in bodybuilding, like, because you're so vulnerable and you're around people, most bodybuilders are introverted generally. They like to do their own thing. It's not a team sport, so that's kind of why we love it. We just grind, get on the stage for show day. But otherwise, other than show day, you can generally be a bit introverted when it comes to bodybuilding. So a lot of people come together like for show or just in general in the community, and you can kind of gauge what people are really like because you're vulnerable in the sport. Like, I just feel like it is. I feel like you genuinely get to see when the walls come down what people are really like behind it. And sometimes we love it, sometimes we don't, and that's fine. You don't have to associate with people that you don't like, and that's all good. And I'm not saying that there's heaps of them. There was so like the whole industry here in New Zealand is pretty much amazing. It's like 99%, it's really good. And I'm not saying there was heaps of people that I didn't like. It's just like, you just learn what people are really like, you just do. And sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't, like I said. I made heaps of friends, so I gained friendships. So that was really cool. Gained more knowledge about myself and what I can do and how resilient I am, which is awesome. And yeah, I think the relationships and the friendships are the best part. And then learning how much I can do if I really want to do it. I really love that part of it. Do you feel comfortable in your body after working so hard? Proud but not satisfied vibes. Yeah, 100%. I feel comfortable in my body. I'm super happy with it. Like I said, I don't get the post-show blues and the body dysmorphia. I can't see my abs as much as show day, but for me, it's just, this is going to sound a bit nasty probably, but I'm blunt with it. So just take it with a grain of salt, but it's common sense. Like, duh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 33. I've been in the gym for 17 years. I know how your body responds or how it works. I'm very self-aware of my body. So I know that if I'm not eating like I did leading into show day and not eating like I did in peak week, which is shit, like low carb, high carb, all that stuff. But if I'm not eating like that and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that and I'm not leading myself into show, I'm just kind of eating like normal. Well, duh, my body's not going to look the same. Like, why do we feel so like surprised that the body's changed, or not surprised, but like let down? Like it's common sense. The body's going to hold water and you're going to look a little fluffier and stuff like that. But that's normal. Like, forgive your body for doing normal things, like just allow your physique to be human. Like, it's what it is. You can't just get shredded, stay shredded, look like show day forever. And I feel like that's something that we just need to like understand more, or like remind ourselves more, be a little hard on it. Like, duh, like this is going to be how it is. If you're going to eat sugar and stuff like that after not doing it for 20 weeks, of course you're going to gain weight. Of course you are. Like, that's just me. And to myself, I'm really blunt too. I'm like, duh, bitch. Like, of course you're going to fucking gain weight. Like, I speak to myself like that, but it's how I it's how I like to do it. I'm not like really hard on myself and really down. I just like to be straight, It is what it is. You're here to do a sport. You need to understand the sport, and it's hard, especially first timers. Like, normally first timers don't think like I do, but I think, again, it's just understanding my body and allowing and forgiving myself to like be human. Like, it's so normal to gain weight after show and look a little fluffier and stuff like that. I don't let it get me down. So that's kind of how I feel about my body, and I hope that didn't offend anyone at all. I really don't want to, but that's just me and my personal relationship with my physique, and how I kind of speak to myself like, duh, like, so, but maybe that does help and resonate with some people as well. Maybe they are like, well, obviously, yeah, maybe I should take that on, but don't feel offended. It's not directed at anyone. It's just for myself. This is a good question. Okay, so do girls with stretch marks and stuff like that, do they like SH scars in any way? Oh yeah, and stretch marks and things like that? No. So if you're like a mother and you've got a cesarean scar or stretch marks on your tummy, things like that, you don't get marked down for it. So I've checked this out a few times, and if I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But I've spoken to I think, judges about it, and it was on the FemFlex Friday, which is Olympia TV's like segment they do every week, which is really cool. It's with 4 Olympians, 2 current Olympians. Like, it's really, really cool. I love it. And they had Sandy on, who's the Olympia head judge. Well, she was the Olympia head judge. She might still be, I'm not sure. But and she said as well, they don't mark you down for that stuff because it's completely out of your control. You're a mother. That's there's no way that you could have changed that or have any effect on that. So if it's something like that, then they won't mark you down. Things like cellulite, because it's to do with body fat, that's a different story. But if it's like stretch marks and scars from like surgery and just things like that, they won't mark you down for it. If it's out of your control and out of your physique's control, then it's not an issue. That's what I've heard. If I'm wrong in any way, please let me know. Chris, if you're watching this or listening to this, please let me know if that's wrong. And then there was just a couple more questions that were awesome. I love them, you guys. You guys, really, really good questions. Oh yeah, so not related, but who's winning the O? So the Olympia's on right now, like this weekend, which is so exciting. And I know a lot of people get excited about the O as well, so it's cool. I'm a big Jen fan. So obviously she won it not last year, the year before, which was when I really started diving more into like myself competing. So she's my idol. She's like right up there. She's such a beautiful person. Like I followed her on YouTube for years and just follow and Instagram, of course, but I absorb all the content she gives, and she is just like the most gentle, sweet. She's what I want to be more like. I'm such a hard, blunt, straight up person, and I love that she's kind, gentle, patient. I don't have enough of that, so that she's so inspiring to me in so many ways. Like it's not even to do with her physique, And then also she's changed up her posing this year to something that I've always thought that she should do, and I'm not a posing expert by any means, but she always hyperextended her leg in the front leg in the front pose, and I was always like, if she just softened that knee just a tiny bit, I reckon like her physique would look really different. And she's done it this year, and I was like, oh my God, she's done it. I reckon it's changed the game for her. I'm sorry, but Jen, I love Jen, and it's not like I don't love the other girls. I love all the Olympians, but I definitely love Jen, so I think she's got it. Anyway, moving on. Did you have any specific questions you asked in your feedback request? I didn't, and I'm still yet to do my feedback request for Mo's, because I'm going to send through my stage photos when I get them. But my feedback was very brief for Waikato. For WAD gave me my feedback for Waikato, and it was just really, really basically stage presence. Everything looked great on stage. Posing looked good. Makeup, all that sort of stuff. And then the only thing I needed to work on was conditioning in the lower body. Literally, that was it. Could have called it. Anyone could say it. Anyone would know. Uneducated eye, you'd still be able to pick it. And I'm not offended at all. Like, thanks for what? I completely agree. And I could probably do with a bit of muscle development, which is what I'm working on. Something I wish I would have done differently. This is going to lead me into my announcement. Okay. So, this is why I'm like, this is why I have a script, because I don't want to go too far off. But so I would have been on a different team. That's what I would have done differently. So next year I will be on a different team. I'm no longer with Marjon Abelardo. I'll be moving to a different team. I'm already moving to a different team. Right now I'm coachless. So that's interesting, doing the reverse on my own at the moment, but I do have guidance from friends and people that are in my corner who are really, really amazing, like Frank Carroll and Kate Carroll. They work as a duo, and they both got my back, and I love them so much. And Rhiannon, my beautiful posing coach, is also a prep coach. So it's not like I don't have help. It's hard for me. I don't even want to coach myself. I can coach others 100%, but coaching myself, I can't do it. I need someone to be accountable to. And that's what I was kind of lacking from this season. I'm not going to dive into it too much. It's a personal issue, personal matter, I suppose, going from team to team. So yeah, that's kind of what I would have done differently. I feel like I didn't give 100 because I didn't have 100. Let's just say that. Let's say that. And it's not like I regret anything or like I'm salty or anything. I'm not like that at all. It is what it is. But you just wait till you see me next year. Let me just tell you that. Let me just tell you that, because if I had been on a different team this year, I would have looked different. Let's say that. Part 1, part 2. Now I've got a fucking fire set in me that I'm another fire. Like, I always have fires just lit in me, but this one's going to make me want to come back next year and be like, this is my package for the stage. What you saw last year was a really half-assed effort, because I got a half-assed effort. So let's just say that. And then moving on, because that's my announcement. But I'm so excited. I'm going to let you all know who I'm going to be coached by soon, when I have gone through that whole process kind of thing. I obviously had some favorites, and I have 3 coaches that I narrowed it down to that I wanted to go with. And that was Rhiannon, my posing coach to be my prep coach too. Troy Thornton, you know what, everyone knows why. I mean, look at his athletes, let's just see it. And then obviously Frank Carroll, worthy of victory, because I love Frank, I love the girls. Man, his team, if you want to coach and you're thinking about coaching, like, and you want, these are your things that you want out of your coach. One, an amazing team where like you go to any show in New Zealand and you'll have a whole squad of worthy of victory girls right there in the corner with you. You'll never be at a show where you're the only one. Let's just say that. Never. Because he had 70 athletes on the stage this year, 70. So if you want that support like that, if you want a posing and a prep coach team, you can have that, because Kate and Frank. And then if you want someone who's like so fucking genuine, like every bone in his body is, and he might not be the perfect person, he's probably fucked up in his life before, but he's a fucking amazing person, Frank, and you trust him with your life. You just literally would. You know that he's got your back, kind of thing. So if you want those three types of things in your coaching team, worthy of victory is your team. So I'm not saying that's where I've gone. That's just kind of something that I thought I should just mention. Like if you're needing those things, and I feel like a lot of people do, they want like a good team. They want girls to like, you know, like pump each other up and like a good group chat and stuff like that, or whatever. Like that's important to some people, you know, to make the journey an experience and have that support. So that would be where I would go for that. Rhiannon's also prep and coaching, so that's perfect. And she's got a great team of Team Hero too, like an amazing team. And Troy's just Troy. We don't even need to go into Troy. He's got his own episode too. So I just respect the guy so much. He's amazing. So that's kind of, where I'm at the moment. I'm going to say no more about it. There's going to be no bitching on my end. It's like, it just is what it is, and we move on, we move forward. People leave coaches and move from coach to coach, and people get dropped from teams and do all of this stuff all the time. We won't even hear about it all the time. So, but I want to be transparent and let you know that I'm in that stage at the moment, going from one to the next, and I'll keep you all posted. I always talk to you guys about what I do. So that's what we're going to be doing. Keen to hear differences between IFBB and my first fitness comp. So my first fitness comp was the fitness model search. Is it what it was called? NZ Fitness Model Search 2018. There was the last one that there ever was, because it was held at the NZ Fitness Expo, which was fucking awesome. And I still wish, to this day, wish it would come back. I understand money-wise, but it was so much fun. So that was really, I got really shredded for that. I was doing like 800 calories on the stairs, like burning 800 calories on the Stairmaster, and doing like 2 hours of training a day. I was getting pushed to the limit. So I was so lean and didn't have a lot of muscle on me. So that was different. I went through a breakup, so I had that, and my ex-boyfriend had been like, just before we broke up, he was like, you're not going to be able to do that. He's like, you can't even control your diet for a day, let alone do that comp. So I was like, fuck, I'll show you, bitch. So I just took it on, and I did it because that lit my fire as well. If someone tells me I can't, or someone just decides that they, you know, don't think I can, I'm like, you fucking watch. Like, I'm so competitive. So yeah, it was kind of different because of that. And then this was more serious for me. I really did take this a lot more serious. I think I've told a couple of people, but before that fitness model search comp in 2018, on the Wednesday before the show on the Saturday, I had a binge. I had a massive binge. I think I ate like a whole packet of Maltesers, a whole packet of like Starburst lollies, I think. And there was something else in there too, like chips or something. I can't remember. But I ate like so much food on the Wednesday. I was so self-destructive in that point of my life. It wasn't a good thing. But that win, I won it. And the win, I think I mentioned it before, it sounds so superficial, but the win was like, showed me I can do things. And I just ran with that. I was like, oh my God, I can do things. And people believe in me. I just felt really nice. It was cool. It was great. And it would just shut that. And like I said, there was a lot of haters. It shut the haters up. They went quiet, which is just funny. So yeah, that's the biggest difference. Is I took it more seriously, let's be honest. And it was 5 years ago, the other one. So I was doing things a bit more old school. Like, you don't burn that many calories on the Stairmaster when you're that lean. It's just, I don't know, things were a bit crazy. Okay. And then last question before I move on to, there's two. I'll make them quick. Don't you worry. And then I'll move on to talking about the show a little bit more. Advice on motivation to keep your goals in check. This is a great topic. I don't use motivation. What is motivation? I don't know. We use things like, I use things as fire, like to fuel me a little bit more. And it does. It gives me little surges of like extra motivation. But it's not about motivation. This is what takes a long time to instill in you and your mindset, but is so valuable. And this is why lifting heavy is important, because it's part of it. You learn how to give you learn discipline. You learn discipline. You don't, like, I feel like people can be so self-indulgent, kind of greedy, a little bit lazy sometimes, like, and that's just my opinion on the general society. I feel like if someone's like, oh, they have a burger, like, they don't tell themselves no, they go and have it. I deserve it because of this reason. When really your body doesn't need it, want it, like, take any value out of it. It's not even needed. It's your mindset. Your mind's like, oh, I want a burger. No, you don't actually. Like, your stomach would probably rather have chicken and rice, or so have, anything else, not necessarily chicken and rice, but you know what I mean? Just something a little more healthy. But our brain takes over and we allow it to control us. And I have this thing where I can't allow things to control me. Like, I don't like it. I don't like being felt like someone or something is trying to control me. That comes from childhood trauma. That's for another day. So I don't like that feeling, and I don't like myself controlling myself even. So if my mind is like, do this, do that, I'm like, no, fucking shut up. I'll do what I want, and I have a goal. So I find discipline. I find discipline motivating. That could be how I find motivation, is because I find discipline motivating. I want to show people that I can fucking do it, and there's only one way to do it. The harder it is, the more I thrive, basically. So, and I haven't always been like that. It's really hard to get there. It took me a long time, so be patient with girls. A lot of the girls I'm competing with are like 10 years younger than me, and I haven't been competing that whole time, but I've been lifting weights, and I've been like practicing adversity and practicing my discipline, and putting it all into daily activities and habits that will get me there. So it takes a long time, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I don't need motivation anymore. I can do the things with discipline. Like, I was eating lollies every single day when I met my partner and when I was going through prednisone and things like that. And he's only ever seen me eat lollies every day and things, until I started my prep. And he was like, I said my ex-boyfriend was like, you're never going to be able to do it. Even my partner, he's the most supportive, beautiful man ever. He was like, really? Can you stop eating lollies? Do you reckon you can? Kind of thing. Like, he wasn't like, you can't, but he was like, oh, well, let's see it. I'd love to see it. It's been 2 years you've been eating lollies every day. So, and I did it. Like, if I want to do something, I'll do it. But if I want to eat lollies every day, I'll do that. Like, depends on the goal. And someone asked about my makeup. It's crazy. I never get asked about my makeup because my skin is so sensitive, I can't wear it. So all I wear is minerals. I have a mineral concealer I put a little bit under my eyes, or in little spots if I have any. It's a little bit of concealer, and then I just use powder, and that's all I use every day, except for my my makeup that I have at show day, and that was by Vaish Creates, and she is the shiz. She was so good at my Waikato makeup that the references from my Waikato makeup booked her out for nationals that I couldn't even book her in. I was like, what? I should have gatekept her. But anyway, so my makeup that I use is by Inika. It's called Inika Organics. I just use concealer, powder. I do a little bit of brow liner just to even them up, and then mascara. That's it. That's all I use, babe. And that's all I've ever used. And my skin's still pretty good. Like, for 34, I feel like I should be ready for Botox. I'm just sussing myself out on YouTube if you're watching, but I'm just about ready to start Botox. I'm like, fuck, I thought I was going to need it at 30, but we're kicking on. So yeah, that was all the questions. Thank you so much for all of them. That's amazing. And I appreciate them all the time. So yeah, Mo's Muscles was awesome. It was so, what the best part was there's so many good parts actually, but it was really inspiring seeing the pros of any division or category. They are inspiring to see in real life, because it is another level. It's another level, and it's leaps and bounds above what we generally see in the amateur league. It is, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the amateur league. It's just like, that's what it is. It's the pro league, and I always get in trouble for talking about the caliber in New Zealand, because people think I hate it, but I don't. Oh my God, I don't. I love New Zealand's caliber. I always just compare it to like Aussie or America and whatever. And that's just because of the population. That's literally all it is. It's just relative to how many people are there and whatever. And New Zealand's like a fairly newer country in the big scheme of things. So we have a smaller amount of people, and who we get on our stage is a smaller bunch. But if you get pros from overseas come over, it's like the best in the world, and then you get little New Zealand next to them, and it's like, we stacked up, we did good. And I was real proud of our pros. Like, there were so many Kiwis up there, and when they went up there to do their battles, I was watching from the from behind backstage, and I was like, oh my God, I was shaking for them, and I was like, oh my God, like Aaron was up there and fucking Sip was up there, and it was just, I haven't seen Sip compete for so long. And like Ash Mullen, who we all know I love Ash Mullen, and it was just so cool to see those boys like walking the fucking walk, man. I was like, yes. There's so many other pros that I was like, why aren't you here? But it just depends on what fits into your life, and I totally get that. But it was just so cool to see. It's really inspiring. And then watching Olympia invites just like floating around, it's like, this happened like on the same day I competed. It's like a blessing, you know? So really happy with it. Couldn't be more stoked with the decision that I made from going to straight to Mo's from Waikato and not doing nationals. There's not an ounce of regret around that at all. I wasn't ready for nationals. And I know that some people might be like, well, you were, or like you were more conditioned than maybe someone else, or that she still went to nationals, but that's okay. But this is my journey, and this is for me, and I want to feel a certain way when I get to the stage. And it's not really about what other people did. It's more about your own journey and what you want to do. So that's kind of why I decided not to compete. And it wasn't like it to be offensive to anyone else. It's just an individual journey and choice of my own. So I just wanted to mention that, because I didn't want to make anyone like feel this type of way or whatever by just not doing it. I just decided to do Mo's, qualify for next year's nationals, job done. The only thing I'm worried about with that is because normally what you do is you go, well, my plan was to go from Mo's to nationals and not really compete in the middle unless I was like super ready or whatever. But the only problem with that is it's less stage time. And I get really nervous on stage. Everyone shakes, all the girls do. We all talk about it backstage. We all shake, like the legs, like all of them, even Rachel Mead, who's done it before. We all kind of have a little bit of that nerves, you know, and that's normal. So I'm a little bit nervous about getting straight onto nationals next year without getting a bit more stage time, but we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. It's going to be part of next year's journey. And that's just exciting. So there's a part of me that would like to get on stage next year, even if I'm not like nationals ready, just to get the stage time, just to get my posing done, stuff like that. So that's kind of my goal for going into next season. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm definitely doing nationals, but I'm going to possibly do another show beforehand just to get a little bit more stage time. I'll still be continuing on with Ree for my posing. Doesn't matter where I go for coaching. Ree's my girl. She'll always be my girl for posing. If you would like her to be your posing coach, she's the bee's knees, man. She's so good. And she stays on the sport. Like, she's up to date. She knows what's going on. She's great. She's so, so good. And she's honestly really quite affordable in the scheme of posing coaching. She really is. So, and also Kate Carroll, she's incredible as well. She's a beautiful friend of mine too. So if you're in like Waikato region, Kate's down there. So it's kind of cool to do one-on-ones like in person. And then Ree's in Auckland. But if you're anywhere, they both do calls, like video calls. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that I'm sticking with my girl Ree. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see that I did the really cliche tacky thing of putting my medals on my wall. That's what I did. I was like, it wasn't like the biggest lineup of women to be claiming my medals like this, but do you know what I'm going to do that for, is so that I can see my progress. And so when I do my podcast in like a year's time, 2 years time, 3 years time, there might even be a fucking pro card up there. And I want to watch that progress over over the podcast like history, you know. I'm all about doing that. I'm all about making the memory and taking the content, and then you can see it later. And I love doing that. This is part of the content creation part that I like, is getting that like transformation. I like it. So that's kind of why I've done this tacky little thing. I know a lot of people do it, but that's why I've done mine. So I wanted to mention that if you're watching on YouTube. I've got my medals on the wall. That's what's up. What else do I need to mention about Mo's? I think that's pretty much it. The show was good. Almost every show things get pushed back or something moves around, and bikini was about to go on, did 2 parts of our bikini. I think we did juniors or something like that, and maybe was about to do masters or started masters or something along those lines, and then all bikini stopped, and then it was like pro. So that interrupted things a little bit, and people do get a bit salty. People have been waiting all day and they get a little bit salty about it, but I just rode the wave. I was like, I'm getting my pizza soon, so I'm happy. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with Mo's. My whole season was great. I loved it. Waikato's was amazing. I jumped straight into the deep end, and I'm happy I did. That was so much fun. What a big show. It was so, so good. I'm really gutted the season's over. I'm excited to watch our pros in Hawaii in 2 weeks' time. So that's kind of keeping me going with the feeling like the season's not over, because we've got our pros competing soon. Frank and I are going to do a wrap up on that show. I will also have content from that show, because I will be paying for the live stream. So I'll pop up just a couple of little screenshots or whatever I'm allowed to, pop it into our podcast as well. So you can actually see how the girls went and what their physiques looked like on stage. And I just cannot wait. I'm quite close with Kate, obviously, and Amy Jacobs, who's also been on the pod. I'm probably closest to those two. Leah's been on the pod too, so I'm obviously rooting for her and all the other girls. But Kate and Amy, if I see them in the top in the lineup, like if they get first call outs or something, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Like, well, I know I'm gonna get emotional. I was getting emotional watching Olympia before. I was like, Jen, oh my god. Like, it's a passion. And if something lights you up that much, you're in the right place, So yeah, that's kind of it for the pod. I just really wanted to chat about the comp, chat about the show, let you guys know what's going on in terms of my re-announcement. There will be changes, and I always like to be transparent. I don't want to be too oversharing because it is personal at the end of the day. It is what it is. But I do want to let you guys know what I'm up to, and why things are happening, and not have people think certain things or maybe even start rumors because they see things and they don't actually know the whole story. So I'd rather just clear it up here. We're all on the same page. And that's what's going on. So next year, I will be unrecognizable, trust me, because it's going to be a lot different than this year was, which is exciting. And I'm so excited for it. I'm ready. I'm more than ready. And yeah, that's it. Reverse is actually going pretty well. I'm happy anyway. Like, I know I've had a few treats and whatnot, but we all do. There's very few of us that will jump straight back on and just be absolutely fine. Like, there's a couple of the girls who have, and I'm really, really proud of them. That's awesome. Like, good on you girls for doing it. But for me, it's just been a little bit of treats here and there, but I'm super stoked with where I'm at, and I can't wait to see where I go and what we're doing. Gonna be so good. So yeah, lots of exciting things to come. Thank you so much for all being here, part of my journey. It's been so nice to have you here and have your support. Like, none of it goes unnoticed. I see all of you, love all of you. It's been such a great season, and I cannot wait to see what we bring next year. Girls and boys, let's bring it, because this year was so good, and my content's only going to step up next year with covering shows and all of that stuff. So I'll be bringing those little video. I don't have to compete at the shows next year, do I? The regionals, so I can come to all the regionals and do little videos of it. Oh, it's going to be so good. I can't wait. We'll get the calendar at the end of the year and we can see what's going down. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I appreciate you all so much. I will see you in the next episode, which will that'll be sooner than we think, probably, and we'll have the wrap up of the Hawaiian show as well coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I do have some awesome guests. I have to get our pros on there. Everyone's very, very busy, even though it's the end of the season. It's just getting life back together, but lots of pods to come. Thanks for all your support. Don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Spotify, give us a little rating. You can give us a star rating if you like, and give us a follow as well so you don't miss an episode. And that's everything. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.